Today's guest is a familiar face, a philanthropist, an inspirational being around the world. She's also an entrepreneur, author, and the mom behind South Africa's most followed travel family account on social media. The family is currently based in Thailand, where they have been using their platform of over 3.5 million followers to raise awareness on the genocide unfolding in Palestine and currently raise funds for Palestinians who have suffered. She's also the kindest, most humble soul I have the opportunity of working with, and she has a powerful voice. So, to all our viewers and listeners out there, this is the one and only Candice King. Hi, Candice, and welcome to the What We Want podcast. That's good to have you on finally.
That was a really, really humbling introduction. I'm like all teary. I'm like, oh, a little bit teary just hearing you speak so nicely of me. Thank you. That's really, really kind.
No, I think there's so much more to add to that. And yeah, I'd also give you the opportunity to speak. Not everyone wants to listen to me. So I'm actually a huge fan. So you cheering, I'm blushing. Candice, you go under social media as Candy and the Kings. I think it's the most adorable, cutest, sweetest thing ever. So can you just tell me, what's the reason behind your handle?
Okay, so originally it was my personal account and it was Candy Lee King. And then when we started our travels, I noticed that John T became very much involved in my account because he was doing a lot of the background stuff, like the photos, and we're sharing a lot of travel couple photos. So then it became Candy and the King because our last name is King. So, and then when I felt pregnant, we decided to change it to Candy and the Kings. So all of our emails are still Candy and the King, and it's a bit of a nightmare because I need to change it, everything to add the S, and it's a slow process. Even our URL is still Candy and the King, but I need to get that S there. So that's the name. That's the story behind it.
It's absolutely adorable. Well, you and your family have taken quite an adventure, and I think Aurora, your daughter, will never ever be bored of her backyard view because you guys are constantly traveling and on the move, and sharing your experience with followers. What inspired you to start this journey?
The travel journey.
Yes, your travel journey.
So, I think my very core is to see the world transform, because I really believe that it is our purpose as humans to bring heaven to earth, and make earth a beautiful place for God to want to exist. That's what I believe. I believe that God wants to meet with us, but it's not really a suitable environment because God is so holy. So therefore we need to be more holy to welcome him into our lives. So at my very core, I really believe that we need to transform the earth into heaven. I don't know if that answers your question. So that's taken us on a journey to learning about other people, learning about other cultures, learning other languages so that we can connect and be more humane. And I can honestly say that travel has been the biggest and most influential part in my learning journey to being more humane. I cannot emphasize how important it has been going to these places. And I found that when you travel and you get frustrated with cultures, it's very often because you don't understand fully what they think about, how they move, how they just associate. You don't understand. But the moment you go to that place and you go, oh, I get it. For example, we went to China and all the time the Chinese people are going and then they spit, and they will spit anywhere on the street, and you think, oh, it's disgusting, and you'll be so judgmental towards them until you go there, and then you realize it's the pollution, and there's so much stuff that happens because of the pollution. After 2 years you end up doing it as well. So and I found that without understanding brings judgment. So if you're judging people, it's because you don't understand. You don't understand them. So, yeah, that's what's taking us on the journey. It's trying to create a better earth for everybody, because that's what we're supposed to do as humans. It's a long answer.
And I think what you basically want to do, I think, touch on was something that reminded me so much of like my religion, because it's almost like you recognize God and His gift, and that is what you want to appreciate. Sort of, I think,
Yeah.
through your travels. Yeah.
So I met someone, and he said to me that um, Muslim, or being like following Islam, it's actually a verb. It's not necessarily a noun, and it's a way of life. It's being good, and that's what it means. And in there, so he said to me that many people around the world are actually practicing Islam, and they don't even know it. So,
Yeah.
according to him, I'm a Muslim because of because of the way that I think and the way and the things that I do, and I think that's really, really special.
I think the way your heart feels for other humans is already something that's just so inspirational to me. And so Candice, we haven't actually spoke about what we're going to be talking about, but I just want to know a little bit about you. And for all our listeners and viewers out there, I know you also do a side hustle. You do the traveling as a business, and then you also you're graphic designer as a side hustle. And
Yeah. So yeah, we run a web development agency. So we have a team of graphic designers. I actually prefer to do the coding. Many people look at me and they're like, "You can code?" Yes, I love coding. It's like one of my favorite hobbies and parts of my work, because coding is like creativity and problem solving together. I just love it. So yeah, that's what we do. We custom code websites, and our websites are the best. There is no drop on genocide in our website. So, because there are platforms like WordPress, they and Wix, they actually all like Zionists. So if your website is Wix or WordPress, you need to get off that like immediately.
Yeah, so we just support the kings. I think that's the way to go. So, Candice, the one thing that we were just talking about earlier is I admire you for how you managed to, prioritize, your life. And as an entrepreneur and a mom and, your beautiful baby that you see often on social media, I mean, you're constantly on the go. And how do you find like the balance managing such a massive online presence while being the mom and also seeing to your family and having those type of responsibilities?
If it wasn't for my husband, there would be no balance. Like if he juggles everything and then I just show up. I make the videos, I do the calls, but all the behind the scenes stuff, there's so much teamwork. And I want to give him so much credit, because he's not just an excellent father, but he's an excellent businessman. He's an excellent husband, and he really supports me and all my little visions and my dreams and all these ideas that I had. But very often he talks to me about ideas that he has, and then we kind of make it work together. So a lot of the videos that I share on Instagram about Palestine, they've been inspired by conversations that I've had with him. Yeah. So he's like the only reason why I can balance anything is because of him.
No, but that's so beautiful, because I just hope your bond stays like that, stronger and grows from strength to
I
strength.
mean, don't get me wrong. We do have our arguments. But yeah.
But that's healthy, I think, for every relationship. So yeah, you have your differences, but working through it, I think, is the most important thing. And so Candice, what I really wanted, the opportunity is to. I was curious to know. I know you've been vocal about Palestine since last year, but I've been stalking you, and I think it started from like 2016 or 2015, where you tried to use your voice to speak up for Palestinians. But let's backtrack a little bit. Like, what was your initial spark, in interest in Palestine?
There was no interest in Palestine. I was brought up in an environment that groomed me into Islamophobia. And I really, from the bottom of my heart, I believe that all Arabs were Muslims and all Muslims were terrorists. I believe that because that's what was taught uh, in conversations with friends and family. That's what was taught at the churches. That's what you see on the news, the media, TV, movies. Um, so I actually wanted to go to Israel, not Palestine. I wanted to go to Israel because I was brought up Christian, and I believe the whole promised land, God's chosen people are the Jews. We need to go to the promised land for like a pilgrimage. So we went there, but we didn't have the budget to go on one of those like packaged pilgrim tours with like the Israeli regime. I don't know. We couldn't afford one of those proper legitimate tours. So John and I just backpacked by ourselves, and that's where everything started to change for me. We went and we stayed at a little fisherman village, an Arab fisherman village called Jebel Razaka. And that was the first time I had encountered some sort of segregation, and it made me feel uncomfortable. And it was very, very stark. You can clearly see it. And because I've been, brought up South African, and our syllabus teaches partake with no limits. Like, you are sitting in class, Aaron, as a white South African, and the teacher's telling you about the oppression that your people cause. There's nothing that can make you feel more guilty. And you sit there and you feel like all eyes are on you. And you're like, oh my God, it's my fault. So taking that and what I'd learned at school into Israel, and seeing that the roads cause separations just like in South Africa. So there's all these little things. And then we got to meet Palestinians because we didn't do these packaged tours. We got to meet Palestinians one-on-one and have conversations with them. And they were the nicest people. They were so kind, and nothing like I had been told about Arabs. We went, another very defining moment was going to Yad Vashem, which is the biggest Holocaust museum in Israel. It is the third biggest Holocaust museum in the world. And we walked through this museum for 8 hours, and I read and just absorbed this information. And there are Jews in there crying because of the Holocaust that's been put on them and the loss that they've had. But I met a Polish man outside of the museum, and he said to me, why do people always talk about the Holocaust as if it's only happened to the Jews? Because you know that it happened to, there were 16 million Chinese that died during World War II. There was 22 million Russians that died. There were 2.5 million non-Jewish Polish people that died. So my grandmother was Polish. So I feel very connected when people talk about Poland. And there were X million of these people, and these people, South Africans, died. But why do we emphasize so much the 6 million Jews that died? What about the 22 million Russians? Like, let's talk about that. And it's having that conversation with me made me go like, that's interesting. Why is World War II always based about the Holocaust? And now when you look at the Zionist strategy, that's one of the biggest strategies that they've used. So learning that, and then we see the patterns of oppression. It was the same in apartheid South Africa, the same during World War II. And then we went into West Bank, and I met a Palestinian Christian, and that was it for me. I couldn't believe that you got Arabs who were Christians. I was not taught that. So he told me that he wasn't allowed to go to Jerusalem. He wasn't allowed to go to Israel. And I was like, that's not true. How can you tell me this? You're lying to me because you're Christian. You're allowed to do this. And so, no. I'm Palestinian. I'm not allowed to go because I'm Palestinian. I said, but you're Christian. I said, yes, but I'm Palestinian. This is nothing about race. This is nothing about religion. This is about race. And my foundation just shattered. And there's so many similarities. The walls, South Africa had the Dom Pass. They've got their own version of it. Like, it's just, you can't visit Palestine and leave the same. The people were, like I said, they were so friendly and so nice. I remember getting off the bus as we entered into West Bank, and a Palestinian man came up to me and I will never forget it. And he gave me a bouquet of roses that he said to me, I'm not going to hurt you. I'm not going to hurt you. You're safe. And he knew that I had stereotyped him because of what. So you can't say the same when people who you have called it tyrant your entire life welcoming in and being
Sure. I think for you,
it's true.
I think for you that was like your light bulb moment, and where you started to actually open your eyes and see the oppression and the apartheid and like all evident in front of you, and what news and propaganda does to tell us otherwise. Yeah. So
and just talking about being groomed into Islamophobia. And I wrote this in my book. My cousin, we were walking to Osaka Marine World, and we saw a Muslim family walk past, and my cousin said to me, "Oh, look, she's wearing exactly what you're wearing." And I said, look at that. There's so much oppression. The husband is oppressing her. We don't know that she might have bruises all over her body, and we don't know this because we can't see. And it just sticks with you because you just think like, oh my gosh, she might be right because you don't know anything else. And so having all of these preconceived ideas, I feel like I owe it to Arabs, owe it to Muslims to use whatever privilege I have, use my voice to educate other white South Africans and just white people globally because, like, someone said to me when we were in South Africa and we were in Cape Town, a woman came up to me and she said, "I'm so grateful. Thank you so much for what you do. I'm married to a Dutch man, and I have been trying to tell him about Palestine, our whole marriage, for 30 years, and he won't listen to me because he thinks I've been indoctrinated. I showed him one video of yours, and he trusts you because he doesn't believe that you've been indoctrinated." And that's true. I haven't been indoctrinated. I was indoctrinated about Israel. Yeah.
It's actually it's beautiful to see, and what I also want to say is that I am so grateful for you for standing up for, not only just the Palestinian people, Muslims around the world, because everyone sort of believed us to be terrorists, and since October the 7th, you find that many people, especially like influencers or people who had a voice or people who had platforms or celebrities, all kept away from speaking out. And, it's the rare ones like yourself that, have actually used the, platforms. I mean, you have a great following, right? And with that comes great responsibility. So, I mean, often what I want to actually touch on before I go to the next question is that I understand now where you're coming from and how important it was for you to take the step. But I remember when you just started speaking about Palestine, you were really concerned about your business and your family and your safety. And I think one of your concerns was your mom was concerned about you, and, where you had your business and all of that. So, I mean, just pushing through and pulling through and standing up and standing strong and, fighting against this. I mean, really something that I hold you in the highest regard. We have like utmost respect. And I think a lot of South Africans are actually like huge fans because we all share that same apartheid, on a past. So really, we can't wait to see what great things you're doing. But I know also you're putting yourself at risk because you also having these, you also post stories that you have to relocate and you find a new home, as the impact has really affected you and your family. And how has it affected you and impacted you and your family?
Well, one of our friends, Ahmed still alive. He's a really great guy. He's moved to South Africa. He's from Gaza. He was based in Cape Town, but he was followed home and constantly threatened for how powerful his voice is. and he went missing for 3 days. And I reached out to him, asking him if he was okay, and he explained the story. And I was helping him, trying to connect with him to like the Turkish ambassador. My noise is still running because I was crying. No, but anyway, so that really frightened me, obviously. But also it frightened me because we have received threats before. Really, really awful threats, and people sending emails. The one day we had an Israeli family, well, two men, not really, so not a family, two men moved in next door. And because of the threats that we had received, I was like, oh my gosh, they probably know us. They've probably been sent here because of everything that we stand for. And to say that the Israeli regime don't know who I am, who don't know who the other journalists are, that's not true. They've literally sent bots to my account to write comments. Like, they know me, and that is petrifying because we know what they've been capable of doing. And it is because of social media, because 90% of the world support Palestine now. Like, all of the lies have come out because of social media. And at the very, very beginning of, in October, at the very beginning of this new wave, this new genocidal wave, I had this like vision, or like this dream kind of a thing, where there's this huge man, evil man, and nothing could take him down. But the only thing that could take him down was millions of ants. All these ants just surrounded him and then pulled him down. And I feel like that's the world. And that man is this propaganda monster who is unstoppable. They've been unstoppable for over 100 years. We think it's only been 77. It's been 100 years of oppression for Palestinians. And that's us, the entire world has to stand up against it. So yeah, like they know who the bigger voices are. They're not stupid. They are targeting journalists. We know that because the journalists are so powerful. And so I think with a bit of online trauma, seeing these children, these mothers, these fathers dying in the most gruesome ways, combined with threats, yeah, like you just rather be cautious. Too many people knew I was so open because of how we lived before, and we weren't really political. Even though I don't think this is political. This is a genocide. There's nothing political about it. It's nothing complicated. It's awful. And before I was posting about this as much as I am, we would tell people, come meet us. Yes, come for coffee. This is where we are. We're going to be at this, and nothing, no problem. But now I brought that kind of lifestyle in with our current posting, and it's been a little scary. So but I'm not telling people where I am anymore.
I don't think you should. I think for the safety of yourself and your family and your daughter, I mean, the threats that you've been getting are insane. It's literally insane. Well, it's always when you're going to do something good, then you're going to get someone trying to stop it. So, I'm really so proud of you, for standing strong and, not giving up and fighting the scores. And also you working on something, as a fundraising initiative.
Oh my gosh. So we have got a few ideas. So one of them is the calendars. Oh, I'm so excited. We actually bought artwork from children in Gaza. And the idea was to obviously support their family with a lump sum money. So we bought artwork from them, which will be displayed in our yearly calendar. Because before, we would just use Janti's photography for our calendars, and then we'd obviously just keep 100% of the profits to ourselves. But now what we've done is we've bought artwork from children, and any people who buy the calendar, the children, instead of giving them a donation, we want to give them a royalty. And I think that there's so much power in choosing the vocabulary that we use, because donation, it's great, but I think that also children thinking, I'm just getting, people are donating to me. It's not as empowering as, no, you guys have done amazing work. You're getting a royalty, so for them, so we want to help them shift their mindsets from I need donations to, no, I'm working, like, and this is my work. Yeah, so that they feel like a bit more empowered than to be. Yeah, I don't know if that makes sense.
Oh, that is brilliant. I think that's like empowering, so many of the young minds out there and looking sure forward to great things using their voice and their artwork. Yeah, it's brilliant.
Yeah.
So good job. Yeah.
So,
And
so
there's a
that's
lot of
one of
other
them.
parts. Yeah. Yeah.
And then obviously my book, I'm still thinking about ways to use it again, because it is really important to get it out there to other communities other than those who already support Palestine. I think I need to try get it in front of people who don't support Palestine, and see what way we can use the book to continue donating. Now I say donating again, but that would be donations to displaced Palestinians who are evacuated Gaza, because a lot of people, they want to donate to Gaza, which is great. I don't have anything negative to say about that. I think that it's really important. But there are Palestinians who have been forgotten, who have evacuated, and they are now in Egypt. They don't have permits. They don't have the right permits to work, so they cannot work. And now they have to pay rent. So at the moment, we're trying to help those Palestinians because we are connected with an organization there that have a database of families who need help, and we've seen the work that they do, and we trust what they do. So, yeah.
Spreading awareness and obviously educating people. Like, we know that they are evacuated Palestinians out of there, but they are still struggling. They need medical attention, whatever they're going through. It's tough. But I honestly believe that in the Muslim faith, we believe that I think the road to heaven right now is busy. With the Palestinians, they're just going. I mean, whatever they've been through, I feel that they're shutting up there in heaven, relaxing. You think, oh, you guys are down here dealing with stuff when we are so done with everything. And I really, I think, like, I look up to them, feeling like they loving now in eternal abode, relaxing and going, whatever they've been through, God has saved them from the present world. And and for those who are Catholics,
yeah, I think it's really, really comforting to have that ideology and that belief that they are here. And also, in my heart, I really believe that to have compassion on other people is God giving us the ability to feel a tiny piece of His heart. And He gives us the ability to feel what He feels for people, because He wants us to do something about it. And when we don't do something about it, we're being, I don't know if I can say sinful, but yeah, we're not being decent humans. So it's important when we feel that compassion. God's actually saying, this is how I feel. Now, what are you going to do about it? Like, do something good, help the people. So all of us feeling that compassion for Palestinians, God doesn't want them to suffer anymore. He doesn't think it's right. I don't believe that God thinks that what the Palestinians are going through is okay at all.
Yes, definitely. And you know what? I do think you have an amazing thought pattern and mindset, because what you just said reminded me of something that as a Muslim community, we feel like we feel like we're a body. And when one part of the body feels pain, so the entire body should feel that pain.
Yeah.
And I think it's admirable to see that someone out of the Muslim faith has this sort of mindset and belief. And I just want to know, like, from your side. I mean, you're so authentic and you're so passionate about helping humans out there. I mean, where do you sort of draw your inspiration from?
So I'm actually dyslexic. I am I don't want to say suffer, but I have surface dyslexia, and one of the strengths of surface dyslexia is empathy. And you notice there's a lot of with people with like some kind of disability, they're very, very empathetic. Like when you see people who have Down syndrome, they are like really loving and really kind. And even like autistic, people who are on the spectrum, they might not have the greatest social skills, but they get like really worked up when they see something unjust happening. And I think because of dyslexia, that empathy comes in. Then I don't know, and it's interesting because people are like, "Oh, you're dyslexic, but how do you code?" My
Yes.
numbers don't. I'm very very lucky that I don't have that level where like all the numbers and that's like very extreme. So you get different like levels, and mine isn't that extreme. Mine is just like obviously I struggle to read. That's why I love sending voice notes. A lot of people get voice notes from me because I'm just like blah, blah, blah. It's just easier. um, and then like directions, I feel like I'm in like a fishbowl the whole time. And thank God for Google Maps. I'd be
But
lost all the time without it.
yeah, but I think you use yourself like really well. I mean, like you using you might say you're dyslexic, but I think you have so many other skills, and I
My
think
nose is running so bad because I went like stuttering earlier, and I was like, it's okay,
well,
excuse me.
it's I think the way you are is just authentically you, so that's fine. I mean, a lot of people know you as the girl that screamed at the internet, so yeah, that's still a thing.
Yeah.
But using your voice is something that's really, incredible. And I hope that you stay safe all the time. If there's something that you want to like just conclude and, towards the end, I mean, I'm not too sure if there's some sort of wording or saying that, gives you that inspiration on a daily basis to keep going and do what you do. If you could share that with all of us and just a few words of advice, to all those out there.
What keeps me going is seeing all those protests. I love seeing the protests of like hundreds and thousands of people on the streets, and I'm just like, ooh. So often I will share like a compilation of a bunch of those because I can't be the only one who gets inspired by that. Um, yeah, so really seeing the community come together, uh, the way that we have not just Muslims, this has become a cause. So like it's become a cause that involves the entire globe. And what I find really inspiring, for example, if we say, oh, the South African community, what does that mean? It means people from South Africa, people who are South African. That's the South African community. But when we say the Palestinian community, it's become anyone who supports Palestine, anyone who recognizes Palestine. And then you get the Palestinians who are like the OGs of the Palestinian community, like they're the leaders, they're the cool guys because they like are the legit, they legit. And then everyone else is just part of the Palestinian community. So what keeps me going is that like we're part of something so much bigger. Yeah.
Wow, that is really like inspiring because I mean, that just shows, that as a world we can stand together. Truly, you are inspiring many people out there, and may you always stay safe, and may your family always stay safe, and now may you whatever the work that you do, with such good audience, and I hope that one day when we meet God, we can tell Him, you know what, hey, I try to do this, and I hope, yeah, there'll be some sort of reward for all that you do. And every little step makes a
The,
difference. So
the reward would be seeing Palestine free and being able to go there like that. That would be the greatest reward. The greatest reward is not seeing any more disgusting videos. Like, oh, I can't handle anymore. What a joyous moment it will be when we can go back onto social media and scroll and just not see that content.
and I think nowadays, I think what we do is we only following these type of accounts that are journalists telling us what. So it is impacting on our health and our mental health. I just wish as well one day qualifying PhD and going into their winter now it's actually quite scary and they are
Yeah.
stuck in tents and it's cold without blankets, without food, without anything. So I really pray that God gives them ease and peace and comfort and whatever they're going through. I mean, sometimes I think as a mom, and your kid's about to waste food or something, it just hits you deep, and you're like, no, you cannot waste your food. There are Palestinians out there; they don't even have,
I know.
and our home. But Candice,
I mean, I was telling you that Aurora is sick, and all I can think about is I'm just so grateful that I'm in a nice bed with her. I'm so grateful that I can go to the doctor and get medicine. I can't imagine being on the hard floor or in a tent, and I think that I'm speaking on behalf of all mothers who support Palestine. When our children get sick now, we go and we always think about the children in Palestine. We go, I can't believe that. I can't believe that they have to go through. It's unimaginable.
In every single way you think of the mothers in Palestine, the fathers, the children, whatever they're going through. I mean, it is.
Yeah.
I just wish it stopped. It has to stop. Eventually, it will stop. I really hope that we see that soon, and I hope that will be very, very soon. So, Candice, I hope your Aurora also feels better, and
Oh, baby, oh, gosh.
it's back on her feet like a mama. So,
Thank you so much for this. I really appreciate it. It's really humbling. It's such an honor to meet with other people like you and to get them stronger,
And you say, so that's a good thing.
No one knows where I am. No one knows me here. It's wonderful.
But I believe you're going to Malaysia next. And
Yes. And I'm looking forward to that. And that's great because in Malaysia, they don't accept Zionists into their country. So I can tell people where I am as much as I want.
Oh, well, I hope you have a lovely trip. And Malaysia is absolutely beautiful. I mean, it's so many Malay Muslims, and they have also, and they're so sweet and they're so warm and welcoming. So I'm sure you will have a great time there.
Yeah.
And I hope to see you when you come to South Africa. I won't tell a soul.
Yes.
But thanks so much for the opportunity. And you know what? We're looking forward to seeing what you're going to do next. And we love for you and we support you. And our prayers are always that you be safe and your family be safe. So don't ever stop what you're doing. And I mean, you're making a big difference in the world. So
Thank you. Thank you so much.
What we want is what we find. Power lives inside our mind.